And they come in for me and they'll do a really cool jump and I get it the first time. And they kind of shake their head and they say, how do you do that? And I said, just it's practice. But you can now, or maybe would you like to do it again? I like to get a safety. And all of a sudden their eyes light up going, oh, this is, it'll never go on the Christmas card, but this guy's actually really, really cares what he does. I'm very aware of the training and the dedication to make their bodies look and do what they do. So yeah, I just, I care. I can't do it, but I can light it.
There you go. It takes a village.
That's the understatement.
What was it like for you the very first time you photographed dance?
Oh my God. I've never been so petrified and nerve-wracked in my and it was a small modern dance company, and it was somebody who had I knew from many years ago, and she decided she wanted to start a local modern company. But she came from a background of touring with world-class modern groups, so serious dance chops, to put it mildly. And I think there's only three people in the shoot: her and two other dancers. And they're putting a program together. And she'd seen some black and white headshots that I'd done. This is back in the film days. I've been around a long time. I had, like I said, I had two lights and a background that I made in my neighbor's garage, and just enough, and a light meter, and just enough knowledge to be dangerous. She said, I'd like you to, I'm putting together this company. And again, this is going back more years than I'm going to admit to you, but very talented, very intense person. And it's kind of like, was it the astronauts' prayer when they're blasting into space? Dear Lord, please don't let me screw this up. I'm not sure if that was Neil Armstrong's prayer when they headed to the moon. Said, "Oh, dear Lord, please don't let me screw this up." But I set it up, and it was nerve-wracking, nervous, because it's me and three other people, and nobody else to blame. When you're shooting like a live performance, you're usually somewhere in the back of the theater, and you can keep clicking away, and you're bound to get something. You can shoot, of course, in film days, we didn't have this luxury, but even now in the digital age, you can shoot a lot of frames and at least come up with something somewhere. When you're in a studio situation, even in the digital era, you're trying to get it and nail it down and keep things moving. So yeah, I wrote down the words nerve-wracking and intimidating. And I still think about that from time to time, and it keeps me fresh.
Yes.
A lot of times, if you're invited to shoot a new group company or a group for the first time, they're looking at you, at least most of the time. It's a little different now because everybody has a digital camera and everybody's clicking right and left and taking all kinds of pictures here and there. But I remember a few years ago, I went to a seminar, and they brought in someone. It was a really interesting guy. He did street photography. He would take dancers and put them into like an urban environment. It was kind of interesting. And I thought, well, I'd like to see other ideas. It was using existing light. And then I think there were 10 people in the environment. And a real talented young lady from NB2 was the subject. And I think we went over the steps of the Capitol, and she'd do some really cool jumps and things. And she'd do the jump and not do one click. Everybody around me sounded like machine guns. It was just I thought, it doesn't take that many guys, just watch. But then I realized, they're avid amateurs. They're trying to learn something about the art form. So they put their camera on multiple exposure. But I don't want to sound snotty, but I went click. That's all it takes. But then again, that was 30 years of experience. Or so, I don't want to sound too snotty, but I realized I've learned a lot along the way.
Well, and it's the same with dance training. You see a dancer effortlessly move through space, but they didn't just wake up knowing how to do that. They spent years and years and hours in the studio, just like you have, learning the ropes.
It's funny you mentioned that because I know when I watch the jumps, especially if I work with a seasoned professional or an aspiring young person who's like going from a high school to college or out of college and getting ready to go audition, when they make it those effortless jumps, when they do it, everything looks relaxed. And I always make a joke. Maybe I ask them to do a pas de chat or some, very basic jump. It looks so effortless, and I always laugh. I said, when I try to execute that move, every vein in my forehead pops out. But every time they do it, I don't see anything but just this. That's when I know they've got serious experience. And I'll do a couple of jumps just for horrible comic relief to prove that, no, I'm not kidding. It's like biting down, and all this pops up, and they will do a couple at the end. But in all seriousness, as you said, they make it look so, the more effortless they make it look, that's when I realized they've got serious talent or experience or a healthy mix of both.
Yes. What tools or education helped you build your approach to dance photography?
For me, I was just talking with a colleague today. We were discussing some lighting. Because I'm kind of a heavily studio-oriented guy, I'm pretty nerdy when it comes to that. Um, Lighting, it's all about lighting.
Mhm.
Good lighting, how to control it. It's basically critical. You've noticed when you're in the rehearsal hall, get it for a recital or a big concert, whatever it is, the ballet master or artistic director is putting the dancers through their paces. Then they carry them over to the actual performance hall where you've got real lighting or hopefully good lighting. All of a sudden, all kinds of things pop out because you've got that extra piece. Um, Dancers are the only people that shadow is their friend.
Mhm.
I tease them about that. Like photographers want to get into dance, they do basic portrait lighting, which is basically broad flat lighting. With dancers, you've got to have good side lighting, certain amount of front lighting, make the shadows and the muscles and things pop out. So good lighting and how to control that